Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome to another episode of Lunch Counter Conversations. Today, my guest is Dr. Joe Bankard. Joe is a professor of philosophy and a good friend. And so we're going to enjoy a conversation together. So welcome, Joe. Glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
We go back a few years, so it's nice to have this kind of conversation.
Yeah. As
you know, NNU is intentionally Christian. We're also a liberal arts university. So how does that go together, Christian and liberal arts?
Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the things that we believe strongly here at NNU, this is something we've done with our freshmen for years, is to say that all truth is God's truth. So we want students coming in to realize that, like, when God created, He said it was good. And so that means when we find truth in a mathematical formula or in a laboratory, in a Bible class or in art, God's in the midst of all of that.
Yeah.
So wherever we discover goodness or beauty or justice, God's in the midst. And so we want students to explore the ways in which God shows up in history, or the way God might show up in a poli-sci class. And so that's where sort of this Christian liberal arts vision is grounded in.
Yeah. So this is not a regular question. I know you also teach some in the Honors College.
Yeah.
So you combine differing kind of disciplines, if you will.
Yeah.
Talk about that just briefly. What's that look like in that climate?
You teaching in the honors program? Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, the honors program, it's exciting for lots of reasons. One is that they have like a very intentional curriculum. So our general education curriculum, for a lot of undergrads, they have choices. So they can kind of gravitate to the things that interest them. But when you enter the honors program, we've structured it to say, we're going to elevate the curriculum some, but you're going to take these 8 to 10 courses. But that allows us to be really intentional with the way in which we talk about not just education, but formation. So we want to make sure that we're giving you access to knowledge and information, but maybe even more importantly, it's like, how is this shaping you as a human being? How does this play out in terms of like the kingdom of God? And so I've loved being able to teach both sort of in the typical general education program and to see the benefits there, but also to get to teach in an honors program where we elevate the curriculum some and have a little bit more intentionality behind it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So our students come from a variety, sometimes a wide variety of faith backgrounds. How does NNU help students along in their faith journey while they're here?
Yeah, I mean, as I see it, part of it is having staff and faculty across the campus that are committed to the Christian faith, but they come from many different denominational backgrounds.
Yeah.
There's no requirement to be Nazarene, to be a staff member here, to be a professor here. So you end up with professors that are Lutheran or Catholic, Nazarene, Methodist, evangelical, non-denominational, the whole gambit. And so students are able to connect with people on campus from all kinds of backgrounds. But in addition, I mean, you know, we have chapel where we do spiritual formation intentionally. We have, student-led opportunities like Time Out on Wednesday nights, which I think are a lot more energy. The music is much more upbeat, but there's a lot of ways to sort of begin to think about your faith in different contexts. And so I think that regardless of a student's faith background or no faith at all, I think NNU is a welcoming place.
Yeah. So as you think about your role as a faculty member, but maybe even more specifically as a professor of philosophy, talk about how NNU prepares students for life beyond NNU.
Yeah, it's good. It's what I get. Students ask me all the time, like, man, philosophy is really interesting. What am I going to do with that? And then we all laugh, ha, ha, ha. But I say, no, seriously, you can do stuff with it. But some of it, philosophy is done to itself, my own discipline, because when people think of it, they picture, like, is this computer real or not, right? Or like, is the chair here? But really, philosophy is not about that predominantly. So when I think about what do I do, like what's my role at NNU as a faculty in philosophy, it's not about specific pieces of information or knowledge, although they get that,
Yeah.
right? So you'll know about Plato or you'll know about Aristotle, but for me, it's about shaping a student's disposition. So a sense of like their habits of heart, mind, soul, and strength, those deep elements that like, can I cultivate humility in a student, intellectual humility, so that they realize that they don't know as much as they might think, and so they're willing to ask a question? Can I cultivate open-mindedness, critical thinking, curiosity? If I can get at those deeper dispositions, then you picture, right, so that student leaves into the job market wherever they go, in their relationships, in their future marriages, with their children, at their jobs, being humble, being open-minded, being critical. Those are the kind of employees people want to hire. Those are the people that can think outside the box, that don't just embrace the status quo. And so I see my job much more at a dispositional level in students, a kind of intellectual virtue level, than it is any hard skill or bit of information I might give them.
Yeah, that's very insightful. Thanks. Students here tend to think that, and believe, rightly so I would say, that we do college different. We're not the college down the road or around the corner, but how would you say we do college different?
Yeah. Again, I think NNU does a good job at preparing students for the job market. So that's certainly something that we are doing, and I think we're getting better at it every year. But in addition, so many colleges are focused there. In addition to that, I really think the transformation of the whole person is on the forefront of NNU's mind. So whether it's in the dorms with RDs and RAs, whether that's in the classroom, where you have access to full tenured professors with small classes. Many students end up at faculty homes, or whether that's in time out or at chapel. We're trying to get at the heart of our students, to not just educate, but to form, to shape, to transform. And I think that's where NNU is trying to do something different that you're not going to get at just any college.
Yeah.
So.
Well, great. Thanks for spending a little time with us, and good to talk to you.
Yeah.
And glad we could hear each other's minds a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me the questions. This is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.